Hi everyone, welcome to this new speed build in The Sims 4. Today I'm building a townhouse in Britechester. I recently started playing with the new current household and I wanted to build a house that they could eventually move into, and actually as soon as they were both done with uni and all of their debt, and I was thinking that it was where they could start their family, and I have to say I'm really happy with this house. I highly took inspiration from the houses surrounding the Honeyfields lot, which is actually this lot, but also houses from where I currently live because those very thin houses are quite common here. I didn't try to go too crazy with the decoration and the clutter because, as I've said in the past, I don't like playing when there's a lot of clutter and when it's too heavily decorated, and just deciding not to overwhelm myself with trying to find the perfect way to decorate this house, I really felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders and I felt more free to do what I wanted, and that's probably why I'm so happy with this house. I really took my time and experimented a little bit more, especially with the decoration on the exterior of the house. One of the brick wallpaper that came with Discover University actually made me want to add a little bit more dimension to the exterior walls of the house by adding the trims, or at least I think that's how they're called, and it really gives this realistic feel and nicely decorated house, I think. For the interior, it's definitely very narrow, but your Sims can move around very well, and there are 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and living, dining, kitchen of course. There is an attic as well, which I have turned into a gaming room with a foosball table and a dartboard, and that's because one of the 2 Sims that I'm currently playing with off camera has started a club called the Retro Gamers, and basically him and his friends, and his girlfriend as well now, go to the bar in Britechester and play arcade games and pub games, and I thought that he would have liked to have those in his house and invite his friends over rather than having to go to the bar, and it was the only free space where to put all of this stuff, but I guess the attic could also be turned into another bedroom if you want. There is also a little laundry area just next to the kitchen with a door leading to the garden, and the garden is actually pretty small, although it has 2 garden planters and an outdoor eating area. I also placed a kiddie pool because out of the 2 bedrooms I furnished in this house, one was made for a toddler, and in any case, I thought that in the summer it could have been fun to just hang out in the kiddie pool in the garden. And even though I tried not to over-decorate this house, I did add some decorations anyway, especially outside, but you will see that pretty soon when we'll start working on the garden. For the basic shell of the house, I mainly used items from Discover University and the base game. And I've been doing that a lot recently, just building using less packs, and I kind of did that as a reflex here, but when I will start putting the flooring inside, I will remember to kind of free myself from those restrictions and just use whatever I wanted. And in the end, I used a lot of packs in this house, but it was so much fun to just have no restrictions at all. It's fun to build with only a few packs, but sometimes it's fun as well to just build without restrictions. For the floor plan, I had an idea of how I wanted the living, dining, and kitchen area to be like, so it was quite easy to put everything together, but the first level I struggled with a lot. And I had to cut out quite a bit of the footage because I just kept coming back to it and redoing it, but in the end, no matter which floor plan I would have decided to go with, I could not manage to fit more than 2 bedrooms, and I tried to add a 3rd one, but the house was just a little bit too small for that. But as I said, if you really want to, the attic can be turned into a bedroom, and I guess you could even put 2 bedrooms up there, although they would be very small bedrooms. I also thought adding a basement, and at first I didn't plan on using the attic. I wanted for the basement to have the laundry area and the gaming area, but when I saw how much free space there was in the attic, I just went ahead and used that space. As for the basement, it was actually quite difficult with the staircases because I would have had to put one somewhere to access the basement, and in The Sims 4, to be able to put a staircase under another one, you need to remove the wall under the staircase that's going to be on top of the other, and that would have opened up the entrance area to the basement, and I didn't want that. Also, I wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit about the new expansion pack that's been announced for The Sims 4 a few days ago, the Eco Lifestyle expansion pack, and I'd be quite curious to know what you guys think of it because even though I was quite excited to discover what this pack was all about, as I was watching the trailer, I felt my excitement decrease, and I guess I'll need a little bit more info on the pack than the blog post on The Sims website and the trailer to really feel excited about it. But as of now, I'm really not as excited as I hoped I'd be about this pack. And yet, all around Twitter, I see people being excited about this pack, which I'm happy about, don't get me wrong, I just don't understand what's to be excited about. Although there are things that I'm happy we're finally going to get in the game, to be honest, like ladders, which I'm so happy have been said to come in the launch update for the base game. They're just going to throw another variant of the ladder in the pack, And I'm also very excited about the new piercings, especially because apparently we're getting nose rings and septum piercings, and if you don't know, I do have a septum piercing in real life and I love that piercing so much that I'd be happy not to have to use CC anymore on my Sims for them to have one too. But I'm sure that those are going to be added only through the Eco Lifestyle pack, unfortunately. The candle making seems interesting as well, just like the entire crafter aspect that apparently will be introduced through this pack. I guess this could actually get me to get this pack because I really like the idea of my Sims making things to sell in a retail store or even using the city living tables. And they also said, I think a little while ago now, that through the Nifty Knitting stuff pack, they would introduce a new online selling system in the game, kind of like Etsy, and I guess that could be fun to also sell some of those stuff the Sims will be able to make on there. But I guess I just didn't quite get why it got people so excited. To me, it feels a little bit like Island Living, because even though I loved Island Living and I had a lot of fun playing this pack in my LP, and it also triggered so much inspiration and ideas for me, and it brought a lot of good stuff, I think, it felt more like they've thrown a bunch of activities we have wanted in the game for a while in one pack and then called it an expansion pack. I may be harsh when I'm saying this, and I'm probably going to be proven wrong, and I kind of hope to be proven wrong, to be honest. But as of now, that's what I think about the Eco Lifestyle Expansion Pack 2. I'm also thinking about the replayability of the pack because I feel like they've reused the system they've introduced with Strangerville, and even though I'm all for that kind of gameplay, and even though I love going back and play with the Mystery of Strangerville, I don't play it every Monday, if you get what I mean. The idea of a changing and evolving world is really nice, but I wonder if in the long run it's actually going to be fun. It also kind of feels like Get Together again, because back when Get Together was announced, it was very difficult to realize how powerful the club system was going to be. And even though I wish there was a little bit more to this pack, Get Together is still today one of my favorite expansion pack for The Sims 4. And I guess the fact that it was also something kind of completely new to The Sims contributed to it being judged so harshly back then. And I feel like with the Eco Lifestyle expansion pack, I need the convincing that we had and needed back when Get Together came out. Anyway, that's just my opinion, of course, and I'd love to know what you guys think about this expansion pack. Are you excited about it? If so, what are you excited for? And if not, what would you have rather have come next to the game? Now, that being said, let's go back to the build. By now, I'm almost done with the exterior, and all I have left to do is the landscaping, but I will actually start working on that towards the end of the build, and then I will also have to furnish the backyard. Right now, I'm starting to work on the interior, and the first thing I did was to figure out the color theme I wanted to go with, what kind of feel I wanted to give to this house, and I wanted to go for something kind of realistic, as if the couple I'm playing with bought their first house together and they haven't really taken the time to renovate everything, especially with the wallpaper, and it took me so long to figure out which wallpaper to go with. For some reason, that's something I struggle with so much in every build, and that's because I wanted to go for something that looked a little bit old but not too much, if that makes any sense at all. So I spent quite some time on that, but eventually I will figure out what to go with, and I'm glad that it took me 8 years and a half to figure out the wallpaper, because that's a wallpaper that I've never built with, and it looks very sweet, and I have definitely seen houses with this wallpaper inside before. Something that you will see in this video is that I was kind of all over the place when it came to the furnishing and the landscaping, because I feel like in building videos, builders work in a certain order, and in almost all of their videos, they always work in that same order. But when I look at the way I work on my houses, I feel like I never start by the same things. I try to, but it doesn't seem to work for me. I tend to have an idea for a room when I'm working on another, and I always go to that other room to put whatever I thought of before I forget. And that makes the video and the voiceover quite difficult to do, because I just feel like I keep switching back and forth between rooms and furnishing them as I go. Even when editing the video to get rid of elements that I think aren't really worth it for the final video, I don't make it easy on myself to make a coherent and voiceover friendly speed build. But that's how I build, and as I said earlier, I just wanted to have fun while building this house, even if it took me a while to work on the video after. Sometimes though, I stick to a room and furnish it all in one go, and there is always this feeling of pride once I'm done, and I had that with the kitchen in this build. But before that though, I'm working on the living and dining room, and you will see that I will keep switching back and forth between the two,
But I guess that's okay because these two rooms are just next to one another and they kind of have to work together. And the color theme I went with was this dark marine blue from the Parenthood dining chair. And I remember thinking, well, we're working with that color theme then when I put them at the dining table. That wasn't exactly how I thought I was going to furnish these rooms. I didn't really have an idea actually, but I wasn't thinking about that at all. Now these two rooms, as you can see, are very small and I couldn't place a whole lot of things in them. But I managed to put a bookshelf, a guitar, a lot of sitting places, a little bit of decorations on the wall. Actually, I just used the cats and dogs painting that I always go for, and in the dining room I placed the seasons painting that I love. But that's pretty much it, and honestly, even if right now these rooms seem very cramped and small, it really doesn't feel like it in live mode. Also, with the arches separating the two rooms, I thought placing columns to give the full effect of an arch, but then I remembered that since the update on the columns to be able to size them as we wish that came just before Discover University was released, the columns don't disappear once in-game, and even though some people are annoyed at the columns disappearing in live mode, I actually liked it. It made the house look nice and it wasn't in my way when I was playing. But now they are, and that has stopped me from using the columns so much since the update, just like it did in this house. So the living and dining rooms and the kitchen are just separated by a couple of walls. It doesn't look awful, but it could have looked better. I just decided to go for more comfort when playing the game. Also in the living room, I placed a game station that's kind of hidden behind the armchair, and I was worried that it wouldn't be able to be played with because of how far it was from the TV, but you can actually play with it. And actually, I kind of went crazy with the Move Objects cheat in this build, and you will see that especially with the kitchen. And I was worried that most of what I put in this house wasn't going to be usable, if that's a word. But I was so happy when I played and tested this house to realize that I didn't have to move a thing. Everything works fine, even with the Move Objects cheat, but I guess in such small spaces, the Move Objects cheat is necessary. Now, as for the decoration, I did place some items with my current household Sims in mind, and since the two of them are still in university, and I think they will barely be done with uni when they will be moving in here, I decided to put a lot of books around the place to show that they haven't stopped studying yet, that it was something they have been doing for so long now that it's almost second nature to them to study and just leave their books everywhere, and it also gives a little bit of a lived-in feel without overcrowding the rooms. I will also come back to the dining room because when I started furnishing the house, I wasn't sure about what to put in the second bedroom. I was thinking either just a single bed or just make the second bedroom as an office. But when I will go and start working on the second floor, that's when I will decide to make the second bedroom into a toddler's room in preparation for my Sims to start their family soon. So I will come back to the dining room to replace one of the chairs by a toddler's high chair. Then I'm finally moving on to the kitchen, and this kitchen has been so difficult for me because I thought the space was too small, but I didn't want to change the shape of the house. I didn't want to make either the living room nor the dining room smaller, so I tried to work with what I had. And I think I spent close to an hour working on this kitchen, and I removed quite a bit of the footage because I just kept trying over and over again the same thing. I did have an idea of how I thought this kitchen would be, and I wanted for it to work, and in the end the result is really close to what I wanted. The only thing that really annoyed me with this kitchen is a little bit of counter space that kept going through the wall. I kept trying to place it so that it wouldn't annoy me as much, but no matter what I did, it just kept clipping through, so in the end I just placed plants to hide the little bit of counter that was clipping through the wall. As for the color theme I decided to go with, I can't really explain it. I just really like the color of the fridge and I tried to go along with it. And it kind of goes as well with the main colors of the dining and living rooms, I think. Except that the kitchen is a little bit on the lighter tone. But I really think that this kitchen, even though it's really small, it's also very bright, which makes it not look as small. Also, as I said earlier, everything is usable. Once again, I hope this is a word. I played and tested the kitchen. I was really worried that I had to find another layout for this room or have to remove a counter or just an item in it, but thankfully that didn't happen. Even though I spent so much time on this kitchen, I'm not feeling as proud as I would like about it, but as I said, it's the closest to what I wanted it to look like. One thing though that was kind of unusual for me when it comes to this kitchen was that I was quite inspired with what to use to decorate it and make it a little bit more lived in. Usually that doesn't happen to me with my kitchens, it does with my bathrooms though. I love furnishing and decorating bathrooms for some reason, and by the way, the bathroom in this house was no exception. But it also happened to me with this kitchen. So of course, it's not as decorated and I didn't put as much detail in this kitchen as do other builders. But I really felt more inspired with this kitchen than I did with my previous ones. Now to see if this will happen with my next kitchen. And I was really happy to see so many items having the same color as the fridge, and it's not the first time that I see this. The stove, the counters, especially the ones that came with the Island Living expansion pack, those ones have that color in so many options. Even some shelves have this color as an option. It really made the decorating this room so much easier. It's also really handy if you're playing the Not So Berry challenge, and sometimes I wonder if the Sims team hasn't put all those colors that you need for the Not So Berry challenge on purpose in the game. By the way, I haven't given up on my Not So Berry challenge, I just took a little break from it because there were some things that I wanted to play with and that the Not So Berry didn't really allow me to. Now I'm moving on to the bathroom. That is the only bathroom and toilet there is in this house. And I guess this will be the biggest challenge in here, the fact that there will be only one toilet in this house. But as you saw, the house is really small and it's really difficult to just fit one item in some places. One thing that I will change though in this bathroom, and I will do that off camera, is the wallpaper. As I was testing the house and taking the screenshots, something seemed off, and when I changed the wallpaper to one that has a little bit more of a bluish tone, it looked so much better, and I kept the same wallpaper though, I just picked a different swatch. I had to do that because I really didn't want to change the shower tub. I really like this swatch with the whales on it, and I kind of based the entire colors I used in the bathroom with that curtain. And once again, everything was blue in here, and I didn't do it on purpose, but a lot of the items I chose in this house are blue. Also, talking about the shower tub combo, that item really makes me miss the system we had in The Sims 2 to personalize a little bit more each items we had. Because with that shower tub, I'd like to be able to choose the curtains separately from the rest of the shower. I still have that small bit of hope as well that one day we will get back that same system we had in The Sims 2 in The Sims 4. That would be such a huge game changer, but I'm trying not to get my hopes too high though. Anyway, as you saw, I decorated a little bit the entrance area, and I was worried that Sims wouldn't be able to open the front door, but once again, and just like I said earlier, everything worked fine. Now, I'm working on the laundry room, and I tried to decorate very briefly this room just to give it a little bit of a realistic and lived-in feel. I will come back as well to this room towards the end of the build, because at some point when I was almost done with the house, I remembered that my Sims have a cat, and that poor cat would need a bowl, a litter box, and a cat tree, and I placed the litter box in the laundry room between the door leading to the garden and the washing machine. That's actually the only item I haven't tested, and I have no idea if cats can actually use it. I'm really sorry about that, but since everything else works in this house, I don't see why that litter box wouldn't. Now, I'm starting to work on the garden, and I'm really excited to have my Sims have barbecues, spend the summer in the kiddie pool, and just spend some time outside in that garden. And even though it's a really small garden, I really like it and it seems so realistic to me. I placed a few activity items in here, just like the clothesline, the garden planners, and actually, none of my Sims from my current household actually garden, but it's an item that I need to have in my house anyway, just in case I want to have a garden someday. I also put, as I said, the kiddie pool, the bucket to have water balloon fights, which I used as a simple decor item, as if it was used to take care of the garden, and I also put a football or a soccer ball, however you want to call those, just next to the kiddie pool, and of course a barbecue. The outdoor eating area really seems so cozy to me, and I think the fact that I sized up the tree and that it casts such a big shadow on the garden really gives it this secluded feel. It really doesn't seem like you're in the middle of a town when you are in that garden, I think. Or at least, that's what I thought when I was furnishing it. I also decorated a lot more this garden than I usually do, but I guess that's because it's such a small garden that it wasn't as scary to work on as a big garden. Once again, and I'm just realizing that now, but I used a lot of blues in that garden. I don't know why I used so much of that color in this build. Then I will start doing the landscaping. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on the landscaping in this build. I just put a few flowers here and there and some bushes in the garden to give it an even more cozy feel, or I guess I could say a cozier feel, I don't know. Anyway, I mainly used those long bushes to hide a little bit the garden and the pathway coming from the garden that I was thinking maybe my Sims' children would use to come home from school to go directly into the kitchen and get their snacks. I don't know why I thought that, but I really like that idea. In any case, the landscaping wasn't too crazy in this build and I really enjoyed that. It's not that I don't like landscaping, it's more that I feel like I need to do something different each time, but I don't really know what to do, and each time I end up doing the same thing anyway, and after a while it becomes a little bit too repetitive. But here it was just enough and I enjoyed it. Sometimes though, landscaping can be really fun, at least I think so, but the day I built this house, I just wanted to furnish. I tried also to add some depth to the landscaping by adding some terrain paint around the house, the plants and the paths. That's something I do often because it makes the entire build blend in a bit more with the world and not look like it has just been put there. I left empty that little area just before the garden because I had no idea what to put there. I thought about putting a bench as if this belonged to the pathway and people could just sit there. I could still do it, but I don't know, it felt like an invasion in my house for some reason, but I guess that could actually happen in real life to have a bench just in front of your house. Then I moved on to the second floor and I first started furnishing the master bedroom, which to be honest looks quite empty, and that's because I really have no idea how to furnish a bedroom. Although I did use some items that my Sims in my current household have, like the bed or the mismatched lamps that I will put later in. Other than that, that bedroom looks very empty. And I did put a walk-in closet in what's supposed to be the chimney, but in The Sims 4, fireplaces have technically no chimney, at least not like they did in The Sims 2 and I think in The Sims 3 as well, so I didn't want to leave that empty space unused, plus that left some more empty space in that room to put nothing. I also struggled again with the wallpaper. I didn't want to keep it as it was because with the color of the bed it just looked really bad and I didn't want to change the color of the bed. The color theme of this bedroom overall actually was very complicated to me for some reason. I struggled to match things together. I guess it was due to the color of the bed. I usually never really work with purple, so maybe that's why I struggled a little bit more on this bedroom than I usually do. I still tried to put some personality to this room by adding some decorations such as a rug. I will also put the cushion that you can sit on that came with the toddler stuff back in one corner of the room, as if they had been put there to free some space on the bed. And I will also put a movie poster above the bed, and I was trying to imagine which movie my Sims would want to hang up just above them as they sleep. In the end, I went with a movie that looked like a sci-fi movie, maybe with astronauts or something. At least that's what it looks like to me, because that's what I felt was close to what my Sims would have liked. Then I moved on to the second bedroom, and as I said earlier, I didn't really know what I was going to do with this bedroom at first. And that's only when I started working on it that I thought that furnishing it as a toddler bedroom right away would save me some time for when my Sims would have a baby. For the color theme of this room, I went with the basic blue and green, and yes, once again, some blue. I put the usual stuff in there, like a potty chair, a toddler bed of course, a dresser, the cubes, and a poof just next to the bed for the bedtime story. I also put a toy chest in this room, and I wanted to put the big teddy bear somewhere, but as you can see, that room is really small, so the teddy bear ended up in the hallway. But that actually ended up well, because I had no idea what to put there anyway. And the hallway will actually stay quite empty, but that's a really small hallway. And on the other side, I will eventually put a little desk with a laptop on it. But then I will be moving on to the attic, which, as I said at the beginning of this video, was going to be the gaming room. I'm saying gaming, but there is just going to be one computer up there that's just going to be a simple computer. What I considered games was a foosball table and a dartboard. And I did that because my Sims are part of a club called the Retro Gamers that usually gather at the bar in Britechester that I've quickly renovated, or more accurately, I quickly added some stuff to a renovated version of the bar, and my Sims just hang out there together and played games, drank at the bar, just have fun to relax and unwind with their friends, and it's kind of like the Good Timers in Windenburg, but I just wanted to have my own club. So I thought that once they were moved into this house, they would have liked to just gather here together rather than having to go through a loading screen to go to the bar. But that's pretty much it for this house. As I said, I'm really proud of this build. It's not the most fully decorated build, but in-game, it's really enjoyable to play in. I really hope that you guys like it. Let me know what you think in the comments. You will find in the description all of the info to put it in your game, as well as a link to download it from the Sims 4 online gallery. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you in the next one.